Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the J&J Motorsports channel. Today we're going to talk about turbos. Alright, today class we're going to be talking about the Cambodian crank cruncher,
Vietnamese valve victimizer,
Nagasaki noisy boy,
the Hiroshima hairdryer,
Pyongyang,
Pyongyang pushrod pretzler,
a Mongolian rod muncher,
Wu-Tang or whistle,
we have the Bulgarian blockbuster,
the Yin Yang Space Bang,
the Beijing blowhole,
we have the Tokyo time bomb,
the Bangladesh Bud Blender,
wonton spoolie boy, which we use quite often here. So there seems to be a lot of debate in today's Dazzle game about what constitutes a big single and what constitutes a small single, as defined by the Northwest Dyno Circuit. 70 millimeter and down is a small single, 71 millimeter and above is a large single. However, when the streets gotta eat, Meyer, what do you consider a small single?
Well, if it starts with S3, then, it's kind of small.
and I kind of feel bad for the 463 and 464 guys too. Those are a little on the tight side.
Then again, the S369 boys, they're down to party pretty good too, so.
So, I guess what we're trying to say
We're up
is,
for adoption, S400s, but we're up for adoption and we're not afraid to.
it's all about the size of the turbine. If you're coming to the show with an 83 turbine, like, get where you belong. Get with the S300 trash, the whole set trash, the small GT 45 trash.
Get out of here with that shit.
If you want to call yourself a true big single, there better be an 87 millimeter turbine wheel on that thing, 1.1, and at least a 72. And then when you get to the professional leagues, you ditch the 488. You get this GT50 from Forced Inductions. Again, another non-sponsored part. And then when you really want to party, like there ain't no party, GT55. I think we can all agree.
I would agree on everything, but if I show up with a Garrett GT42 as a single, with that 83 turbine, and a 75 millimeter compressor,
You're going to lose.
I'm going to lose, but there's no doubt I'm down to party.
Sure. Yeah, it's not a party until you're on your second set of thrust washers, right?
It's not a party when you have to put the old ones back in.
Oh, true. So, now, there seems to be a lot of misinformation on what is a compound turbo and what is a twin turbo.
We in the diesel industry like to say twin turbskis because it sounds really cool.
But you're really sounding like a f***ing idiot.
I don't know,
And
it
I
still
mean
sounds pretty cool.
Every f***ing word of that. You are a moron.
The proper term is a dual.
Dual turbos, compound turbos.
Those turbskis.
But when you have freaking twin turbskis, that means you got two of the same size, splitting the exhaust volume.
Exactly.
So it'd be like two HX35s, two HE351s, and guess what? It just doesn't.
GT55.
Yeah, two GT55s, but that doesn't seem to work. So stop saying twin turbo. Compound turbos, you got a small one on the manifold, you got a big one sucking in the atmosphere. So a prime example would be like, this would be a compound turbo setup. You got a smaller one that's getting fed by the big one.
My blowhole's going to go into his blowhole, like that.
Perfect. And his
That's
gases.
actually wrong.
His-
It's gonna go like this. There we go.
his gases are going to become my gases. Hey.
It's unfortunate.
He
but
only,
it's a necessary evil.
and he will only breathe the air that you breathe.
Yeah. So basically, I recycle his shit.
It's true love.
True love. But yeah, so, and then obviously you have your
Amazing
triple turb skis, which triple, you got two atmospherics feeding one manifold charger,
Generally, they're all around the same size. So
Yep.
basically, you have twins.
or
being-
generally the one on the manifold is usually the biggest. Usually. At least it has a very
Depends.
large turbine wheel.
hopefully.
Generally, like, a very common street setup would be like 287 turbines feeding like a 96 on the manifold. Or if you're like a power driven guy, you have two 102s feeding a 106. So you get the point. But yeah. Twin turbos.
They're every time I work on a truck, I'm like, dude, I'm going on a big single. Like, this is so bullshit. But then I drive it, and it's like, dude, I'll never drive a big single.
Takes a man to harness all this.
It does.
Meyer did have the most fun, I think, with his big single turbo when he was running it on his nasty.
That's just because I couldn't get it to spool because it wouldn't make any boost till over 2,000. And for some reason my truck would pop and sputter at 2,000, so I couldn't get it past that.
Dude, the fun doesn't begin until 3K starts.
It did spool pretty good dropping the clutch at 3K. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed by just how it came on.
I'm excited to try out this Garrett and see how she spools. And it's an FI charger, non-sponsored again, but this is my first ball bearing. I'm gonna probably beat the shit out of it, but oh well. T6.
Right there,
by the way, if you don't have a T6 on your manifold, we can't even be friends. Bye. Dude, you're still rocking
T3 for life.
Dude, I got T4 too. Dude, we're so diverse right now.
Yeah. Another accurate representation of how big our booty holes are.
Our blowholes?
Yeah, our Beijing bro.
Dude, I got a chastity belt. Look at this. Oh.
It's spool?
I didn't see it spool.
If you take both, you take a turn at it.
A little laggy.
It's a little laggy.
Should we talk about the our Beijing blowholes and the air ratios of these puppies?
Oh, yeah.
As well as the undivided versus divided?
So about the AR housing, or AR of your Beijing blowhole housing, we have, mine is a 115. What's yours?
Mine's a
0.96.
0.96 undivided T6.
That's wild.
I got the 9 centimeter. Whatever that means.
9 centimeters of fury.
Get rid of that British shit. Oh, I got mooring too. Look
Good
at
day,
this.
mate.
Good day. Okay, so the AR of the housing is just, it's kind of it stands for area ratio. It's the area of how big this guy is versus the diameter from the center to the center of that ball loot. So the tighter the housing, the smaller the orifices that the air has to go through. More velocity to drive the turbo down low, but more restriction up top. Likewise, larger volume, larger area, more power up top because you get the exhaust through it, but it takes a lot to get going down low. So
Nitrous.
that's what nitrous is for. Nitrous is an altitude in a bottle. It's freaking AR in a bottle.
Hey, I like it. And then you hear a lot of people talk about barking. Right? I want to bark my turbo. I want to hear the...
There's a lot of different terms for it. Like, I'm trying to think of all the different... Roses are red, violets are blue, my turbo goes...
But
okay,
what's happening here is you're actually creating a backup in the discharge air. There's such a high volume of air moving at a higher density, right? You have boost. And then all of a sudden the engine stops trying to consume air. So you get this ramming effect that literally comes back and starts knocking this thing right in the knickers. Now, if you have an S400 big turbine, a Garrett, maybe that Garrett, or an HE351 built by Savage Fab, it can take it. When you get the S300 with that tiny little shaft, you can't. Destruction.
most of the time.
It does sound cool though. So if you're doing it for the gram, surge that or bark that thing.
Bark it.
Bark
And we happen to have some pretty good examples. Now, in extreme cases of bark where you're actually doing it while you're trying to make power, like you're on the throttle and it's barking, what's happening is your compressor is so happy where it's at. It's trying to make boost, but your turbo's like, oh hell nah, it's about to head out. So there's not enough, the air of the housing is not tight enough to really drive the turbine hard enough. So it said, okay, let's make boost, and then all of a sudden, no, we can't do this, I'm about to head out. So you end up with a surging effect where it makes some boost, and it's like, no, and it barks, and then makes more boost, and barks again. It's like a constant barking. It's basically when you're on the very bottom end of what the turbo is really happy doing.
So like an 83 turbine in a 5.9 truck? Or a 65 turbine in a 12 valve?
Yeah, that one.
Mm.
Again, we got an amazing example of this one.
What 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
No, this is very bad. It's very bad for your turbo.
But this was a free turbo, so
I was
for testing.
I believe the special instructions were
let's break it.
break.
Let's see how she lasts.
And they didn't give it to me, which means it will last probably more than a day.
And so far it has. It's actually an amazing turbo. It runs great.
Lastly, we're going to talk about lag.
That seems pretty fitting because it's the last thing we're going to talk about.
A little lag behind the
legs,
seams. And
yeah. You're gonna fall behind
It's really the time of when you're impatiently expecting power.
Yes.
That's very accurate. It's the point from when you hit the throttle to your rod's like, ah, hey, nah.
I like to think about lag as how many minutes it takes laying next to your beautiful woman before she finally gives you the beans.
Basically, how long you have to caress her.
Basically, how long? Basically, how long you have to?
Massage that
basically,
thigh.
how long you got to play footsies with the throttle before the big thing goes bang?
Are we keeping that one?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
James, tell us on your opinion on lag.
I think lag is really a measure of how much you like to party. And if you aren't waiting for your turbo to spool, then
You probably have a small single.
Yeah. You probably only last 30 seconds in bed too, so.
Hey, nobody wants that quick spool up.
It's all about drawing out the inevitable.
Spool that thing up nice and slow, and just let her rip tater chip.
If you don't have parts all over the ceiling, well, then you didn't do it wrong.
Yeah. Substitute rods for legs. If you don't have rods sitting on that engine, you're not doing it. So, another quality video coming to you guys from JMJ.
Yes, I hope you enjoyed it.
Motorsports. I hope you enjoyed it.
I'm doing it. No, dude. That's
Dude, like,
comment,
subscribe.
Okay,
So, lastly, we're going to talk
Lastly, what we've all been waiting
Okay,
for.
stop, sorry. You were in the middle. Josh was in the middle of it again.
Lastly,
Okay, and action!
lastly, we're going to talk about lag, the subject we've all been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice play on words, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think everyone's waiting for
I think the real definition of lag is it's your impatience for expecting power below when the turbo is really happy.
Okay, it's all improv from here on out, boys. Okay, what's lag?
Alright, one more time.
I'm ready
Ready?
for the boys.
Go.
What the hell was I saying?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm running out of RTB to pull off this thing.
Lastly, fuck me, I keep talking over you guys.
No, that was fine.
3, 2, 1.
Lastly, we're going to talk about the subject that we've all been waiting for. Lag.
That's a nice play on words, sir. I like it.
Thank you.
Well done.
Worked very hard on it.
Got it.
So what is lag, and how do I prevent it?
Yeah, we all prevent this. It's like the British invasion. We prevent this.
The British are kill me. The British are kill me.
Well, I'll tell you what. You go take him to Dairy Queen, and then
I
you
don't
tell him
want
to
your
shut.
tea.
What?
I don't want your tea.
Oh.
I believe you throw it in the harbour. They threw all goddamn bloody tea in the harbour.
It's a bloody sin.
Sin. Okay. Lastly, we're going to talk about the subject we've all been waiting for. Lag.
Oh, well played out, my friend. Nice play on words. A little menage a trois.
Yes,